Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm Elena, your host for today's session. If you are joining us for the first time, it's wonderful to have you here. We are dedicated to bringing you fresh, immersive English learning experiences every single day, designed to help you not just learn the language, but to live it, improving your listening, refining your speaking, and deepening your overall fluency. Today's episode is a special one. It is designed as a comprehensive masterclass for those at the B1 to B2 intermediate and advanced levels. We are going to move beyond textbooks and standard lessons to focus on the real rhythm of English communication. Over the course of this deep dive session, we will explore sophisticated phrases, genuine daily expressions, and essential vocabulary that will immediately help you sound clearer, more natural, and significantly more fluent in your interactions. We will walk together through realistic speaking scenarios, guided practice techniques, and everyday situations where advanced vocabulary is the key to expressing yourself with true confidence. You will train your ear to catch natural English intonation, and you will practice speaking right along with me to strengthen your pronunciation and activate your passive vocabulary. By the time we finish today, you won't just understand these concepts theoretically, you will feel ready to use them organically in your own life, whether you are chatting with friends, handling a situation at work, or navigating formal environments. Our goal today is to expand your linguistic toolbox, sharpen your listening comprehension, and help you step into your role as a confident communicator. Before we settle in, please ensure you are subscribed to the channel and have pressed the bell icon so you never miss these daily moments of learning. Now, get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's begin this journey together. As we start, I want you to consciously relax your shoulders and your mind. Allow yourself to simply enter the flow of the English language. One of the most effective methods for internalizing English is deep listening, absorbing the patterns without immediately trying to analyze them. So, as I speak, just let your thoughts follow the current of my words. Notice how the sentences are constructed, and whenever you feel prompted, repeat after me using your own natural voice. This simple habit is transformative. The more you allow English to enter your ears without resistance, the more naturally your brain begins to think in English as well. And that shift from translating to thinking is the bridge to true fluency. Today is about exploring advanced phrasing, but it is also about context. Fluency doesn't grow from lists of words. It grows from real-life situations. Think of this lesson not as a lecture, but as an extended, gentle conversation between us, where you are strengthening your grasp of the language one moment at a time. Let's begin with a foundational concept: changing your internal monologue. At the intermediate level, you likely know thousands of words, yet you might still hesitate mid-sentence because your brain is busy translating from your native tongue first. This adds friction and stress to speaking. So, let's try a mental exercise. Imagine you are walking down the street on a crisp morning. Instead of observing the world in your first language, switch your internal narrator to English. You don't need complex sentences. Just observe. The air feels cool today. That dog is pulling on its leash. I need to grab a coffee soon. The more you practice describing your immediate reality in English, the faster your brain adapts. This is called internal immersion, and it is something highly proficient speakers do automatically. Try it right now in the room you are in. Find 3 objects. Describe one of them silently in English. Don't worry about grammar. Just connect the object to the English word. The wooden table looks old. The light from the window is bright. That right there is fluency growing in real time. Now, let's introduce some sophisticated phrases for real conversations. Sometimes, you need to express that a situation is more complex than it appears on the surface. Instead of saying, it's complicated, you can use the phrase, it's a bit more nuanced than that. Repeat that slowly. It's a bit more nuanced than that. This makes you sound precise and thoughtful. Imagine a friend asks why you haven't finished a project and assumes it's because you're lazy. You can gently correct them. Well, it's a bit more nuanced than that. We ran into some unexpected technical issues. Advanced English isn't just about big words. It's about expressing subtle shades of meaning. Another excellent phrase for daily life is, I've had the intention to. This is a slightly more formal, structured way of saying you've been planning to do something. For example, I've had the intention to reorganize my office for weeks. Or, I've had the intention to reach out to you. It sounds mature and deliberate. Let's practice it. Say it softly after me. I've had the intention to improve my pronunciation. I've had the intention to read more English novels. Let these sentences flow easily. Don't overthink the grammar. Just get used to the pattern. Now, let's visualize a real-life scenario. You run into an old acquaintance you haven't seen in 6 months. You want to explain that life has been incredibly intense and busy, and you haven't had a moment to rest. Instead of basic English like, I was very busy, try this B2 level phrasing. My schedule has been absolutely relentless lately, but I'm finally coming up for air. This expresses the intensity of your schedule and the relief of finally getting a break. Let's practice. Repeat. My schedule has been absolutely relentless lately, but I'm finally coming up for air. If that feels long, break it down. It's about getting your mouth accustomed to the rhythm of longer, more descriptive sentences. Fluency is heavily reliant on pacing and delivery. Let's work with another useful expression for managing tasks. I'm trying to wrap my head around. This is a very common idiom, meaning you are trying hard to understand something complex or difficult. For example, I'm trying to wrap my head around these new tax regulations. Or, I'm trying to wrap my head around advanced English grammar rules. Native speakers use this constantly. It makes your speech sound authentic. Try it yourself. Say, I'm trying to wrap my head around the best way to practice speaking. Feel how natural that sounds. Using idioms correctly immediately elevates the perceived level of your fluency. Now, let's deepen our listening focus. Listening isn't just about hearing individual words, it's about interpreting intent. If a native speaker says, I'm feeling a bit rough today, they aren't talking about texture, they mean they feel ill. If they say, I'm totally snowed under, it means they have too much work to do. If they say, I'm of two minds about it, it means they are undecided. These idiomatic expressions are the building blocks of natural conversation. Let's practice understanding them in context. Imagine your boss says, I know I promised to review that today, but I'm completely snowed under. You immediately understand they are too busy. Or a friend says, I'm of two minds about accepting that job offer. You know they are struggling with a decision. Recognizing these quickly is crucial for real fluency. Let's expand your vocabulary with some versatile, advanced words. The word adaptable is excellent. It means able to adjust to new conditions easily. You could say, to learn English well, you need an adaptable approach. Another key word is crucial. This means decisively important or critical. You can say, consistency is crucial for long-term success. Repeat after me. consistency is crucial. These words help you communicate with more weight and precision. Another advanced concept is unavoidable, meaning something that cannot be prevented. For example, mistakes are unavoidable when learning a new skill. This word helps you express realism and acceptance. Say it aloud slowly. Mistakes are unavoidable. And it's true. If you are practicing, you will make mistakes, and that is perfectly fine. Let's bring these into more daily life examples. Imagine discussing a difficult task. Instead of saying, "It was hard," try, "It was quite a tough slog, but I managed to push through it." Or instead of, "I don't get it," try, "I'm a little hazy on the details." Or, "Could you elaborate on that point?" These small shifts make your English sound much more sophisticated. Now, let's do an interactive speaking exercise. I will set the scene, and you respond using the types of phrases we've discussed. Imagine a colleague asks, "How are you handling the new project deadline?" Your advanced, natural answer could be, "It's been a bit relentless, but I'm trying to wrap my head around the new requirements." Say it after me. Let it feel like a real thought. Another situation. Someone asks if you've started a hobby you talked about previously. You say, "I've had the intention to start, but I haven't found the right window of time yet." Repeat it slowly. Feel the rhythm of the sentence. These exercises train your brain to access advanced structures without hesitation. Now, let's shift to vocabulary awareness regarding multiple meanings. In English, context is everything. Take the word run. You can run a race physically, but you can also run a meeting, which means to manage it. Run into a problem, which means to encounter it, or a machine can run smoothly, meaning to operate well. This flexibility is challenging, but also what makes English expressive. Let's practice with the word set. You can set the table for dinner. You can also set a goal. The sun can set in the evening. Or you can be set in your ways, meaning you are resistant to change. The more you listen, the more these patterns become intuitive. That's why immersive listening is non-negotiable. I want to take you through a brief visualization. Close your eyes for a moment if you can. Picture yourself in a conversation with someone you respect professionally. They ask you about your approach to personal development. Instead of a simple answer, imagine yourself speaking fluently. You hear yourself say, "I want to express my ideas with more precision, so I'm currently trying to wrap my head around more complex vocabulary." Feel the confidence in that statement in your imagination. When you visualize success, your brain begins paving the neural pathways to make it reality. It's a psychological tool that truly works. Let's continue with more descriptive phrases for difficulty. When something is incredibly easy, native speakers often say, "It's smooth sailing." For example, "Once we got past the initial setup, the rest of the project was smooth sailing." Conversely, if something is very arduous, you might say, "It's a tough slog." These phrases add color to your descriptions of challenges and victories. Let's create a short dialogue using these. You say, "How is your exam preparation coming along?" Your friend replies, "Honestly, it's been a real tough slog this week, but I'm making progress." You say, "Hang in there. I'm sure once you finish this section, it will be smooth sailing." Repeat this little exchange. Don't worry about perfection. Focus on the natural back and forth flow. Now, let's address pronunciation and connected speech. At the B2 level, a major hurdle is moving from sounding robotic to sounding fluid. Native speakers link words together. For instance, "What are you going to do?" often sounds like, "What you gonna do?" in casual speech. We aren't aiming for slang right now, but look at a phrase like, "I have been trying to." When spoken naturally, the H in have often disappears and the words run together. I've been trying to. Try it slowly with me, focusing on the connection. I have been trying to. Now, a little more naturally. I have been trying to. Feeling how sounds influence each other helps you understand native speakers and soften your own accent. Let's bring in more sophisticated vocabulary regarding character and work. The word tenacious describes someone who keeps grip on something and refuses to give up. You can say, "She is a tenacious learner." Another fantastic word is diligent, meaning showing care and conscientious work. Diligent practice is the key to mastery. Let's create another speaking prompt. Imagine someone asks how you are managing your English studies alongside your job. You respond naturally. "I'm trying to remain diligent with my schedule, and I've had the intention to practice speaking every evening." This is how fluent individuals structure their thoughts. Say the sentence slowly, then again with a natural rhythm. Another expression to refine your speech is by and large. This means generally speaking or on the whole. For example, by and large, I'm satisfied with my progress. Repeat it. By and large. It helps you summarize thoughts effectively. Let's continue with daily life descriptions. Imagine discussing your upcoming week. Instead of, "My week is busy," you can say, "My agenda is pretty hectic this week." Hectic implies busy and perhaps a little chaotic. It's a very natural B2 word. Try it. My agenda is pretty hectic this week. We can also use the phrase ultimately, which is a sophisticated way to say in the end or at the end of the day. For example, ultimately, the only thing that matters is that you don't give up. Repeat it. Ultimately. Now, let's do another guided sentence repetition exercise to lock these in. I'll say a sentence. You repeat it. I want to feel more capable when speaking English. I'm trying to wrap my head around these advanced concepts. I've had the intention to study more regularly. Life has been relentless lately, but I'm regaining my balance. Ultimately, consistent effort is unavoidable if you want to grow. Say them slowly, then try to say them with a natural flow, connecting the words. This repetition isn't mindless. It's conditioning your brain for fluency. Now, let's build listening comprehension with a short narrative at a B2 level. Imagine you are preparing to host an important dinner party. You wake up early, feeling a bit anxious, and try to organize your mental checklist. You think to yourself, "I'm trying to get a handle on everything I need to cook today." As guests begin to arrive, one friend asks a question about a dish that you weren't prepared for. For a split second, you feel flustered, but you take a breath and say, "Well, it's a bit more nuanced than just following a recipe. Let me show you." Your friend smiles, intrigued. After everyone leaves and the kitchen is clean, you feel a deep sense of relief and think, "That was a tough slog, but it went perfectly in the end." This small story demonstrates how these advanced expressions fit naturally into everyday anxieties and successes. Now, you say the key lines. Imagine you are the host. Repeat. It's a bit more nuanced than just following a recipe. Then say, "That was a tough slog, but it went perfectly." Feel the strength in those sentences. They communicate resilience and competence. We will keep building on this foundation as the lesson deepens. Every time you repeat a phrase, every time you notice a new rhythm, you are sculpting your fluency. Trust this process. Allow English to feel comfortable, not pressurized. The more relaxed you are, the more receptive your brain becomes. As we continue, imagine yourself growing just a little bit more confident with every sentence that passes. Fluency isn't a lightning strike, it's a slow sunrise. It happens quietly through moments exactly like this one, listening deeply, repeating softly, and letting your mind reshape its understanding of the language. The most powerful tool you have right now is awareness, noticing how thoughts connect in English without needing to translate them first. Let's integrate the expressions we've explored into longer, realistic scenarios. Imagine you are commuting and a friend texts asking how life is treating you. Instead of "everything is okay," express yourself naturally. "Things have been a bit chaotic, but I'm managing to keep my head above water." Repeat that slowly. "Things have been a bit chaotic, but I'm managing to keep my head above water." This idiom, "keep my head above water," means just barely managing to cope with a difficult situation, like work or debt. It is extremely common and sounds very authentic. Let's expand. Sometimes you want to admit you are still learning a process. You can say, "I'm still finding my feet." Repeat that. "I'm still finding my feet." This phrase communicates that you are new to something and still learning the ropes, but you are making progress. It's perfect for a new job or learning English. If someone asks how you like your new role, you can say, "I'm still finding my feet, but I'm enjoying the challenge." It sounds honest and professional. Now, let's practice advanced vocabulary in context. The word incrementally means changing in small stages or amounts. Try this. "My listening skills are improving incrementally." Say it naturally. Using words like incrementally, substantially, somewhat, or markedly adds sophistication to your descriptions. Another vital word is modify. To modify means to make partial changes to something. For instance, "I need to modify my study plan to fit my new schedule." Try saying that. "Modify my study plan." This is very common in professional settings where plans change frequently. Let's try another expression for surprise. "It really threw me for a loop." This idiom means something completely surprised or confused you. If you receive unexpected news, you can say, "That news really threw me for a loop." It's excellent for expressing genuine reactions naturally. Now, a guided speaking practice. I'll give the situation, you give the advanced response. Situation. A colleague asks, "Were you expecting the CEO to resign?" Your response. "Not at all. It really threw me for a loop." Repeat it gently. Situation. A friend asks about your new exercise routine. Your response. "I'm still finding my feet with it, but I'm improving incrementally." These sentences train your fluency by reinforcing natural response patterns. Let's explore a phrase for ongoing effort. "I'm chipping away at it." This suggests working slowly but steadily at a large task. If someone says, "That report looks huge," you can reply, "Yeah, but I'm chipping away at it." If they ask about your English goals, say, "It's a long journey, but I'm chipping away at it every day." It's humble, determined, and natural. Now, let's build longer, complex sentences. Repeat this. "I've had the intention to practice more diligently, but my agenda has been hectic, so I'm modifying my routine to fit shorter sessions in." This is the kind of sentence a fluent speaker uses, connecting ideas with time phrases and realistic vocabulary. Say it again. focusing on the flow, not perfection. Let's add a phrase about impact. It pays huge dividends. This means something brings great benefits later on. For example, investing time in pronunciation practice pays huge dividends later. Repeat, it pays huge dividends. Now, back to pronunciation and rhythm. Listen to how native speakers connect sounds. I'm working on it often sounds like I'm workin' on it. The G drops, sounds link together. Try saying it. Another one, I have had the intention becomes I've had a intention. Listen, repeat, allow the blend. Fluency is about physical comfort with the sounds. Let's add more vocabulary. To allocate means to set apart for a special purpose. I'm trying to allocate 20 minutes a day to reading. Repeat, allocate. Another word is counterproductive. It means having the opposite of the desired effect. Stressing too much about grammar can be counterproductive to fluency. Repeat slowly. Let's practice real-life situations. If asked how you manage your time, instead of I have no time, say, I'm trying to allocate my time better, but it's a work in progress. Say it slowly. It's a work in progress. Let's shift to listening training. Imagine you are preparing for a job interview. You have prepared, modified your notes, and practiced your delivery. Yet, as you walk on stage, you feel a wave of nerves. You take a deep breath and think, I've been chipping away at this for weeks. I'm more ready than I feel. During the speech, someone asks a question that throws you for a loop. You pause, think, and say, I'm still finding my feet with that specific data point, but here is what I know. After the speech, you feel proud because you communicated clearly under pressure. Now, repeat key lines. I'm more ready than I feel. I'm still finding my feet with that. I communicated clearly under pressure. These lines build confidence. Now, let's explore advanced expressions for agreement and disagreement. Up to a point means to a certain extent, but not completely. For example, I agree with you up to a point, but I see another side to it. Repeat it. Another phrase is, that's a valid point. This is a polite way to acknowledge someone's idea. Here is a short dialogue. Person A says, immersion is the only way to learn. You say, that's a valid point, but structured study is also crucial up to a point. Person A says, maybe, but listening is hard. You reply, fair enough, listening takes time, but diligence pays huge dividends. Now, let's build vocabulary. Foresee means to predict or anticipate. Repeat, I didn't foresee how much I would enjoy this. Dependable means trustworthy or reliable. Repeat, finding a dependable practice partner is key. Imagine explaining your progress. Instead of, I am getting better, say, I can feel myself improving incrementally, and I didn't foresee how empowering it would feel. Here is another useful phrase for understanding. I'm getting the hang of it. It means you are learning how to do something. Repeat slowly. I'm getting the hang of it. Now imagine a video call situation. Someone asks about your English. You say, I've had the intention to practice more, but my agenda has been hectic. Still, I'm getting the hang of these new phrases, and it pays huge dividends in my confidence. Pronunciation practice. Repeat. Hectic agenda. Again, hectic agenda. Now, getting the hang of it. Let's add emotional vocabulary. Inspired. Resolute. Repeat. I feel inspired by the progress of others, and I am resolute in my goal to reach fluency. Now, another short listening story. You join an English book club. You feel nervous, but as the discussion starts, you realize you follow the plot up to a point. When asked for your opinion, you hesitate, then say, I'm still finding my feet with expressing complex critiques, but here's my take on the chapter. After the meeting, someone says, "Good insights today." You feel proud. Even though some questions threw you for a loop, you managed to contribute. Now repeat. Here is my take on the chapter. I managed to contribute. I feel proud of my effort. Let's continue with a final speaking practice for this segment. Repeat softly, naturally. I'm becoming more fluent incrementally. I'm trying to allocate time for English in my daily routine. I'm getting the hang of thinking in English without translating. I didn't foresee how much confidence this would give me. I am resolute in my decision to keep improving. Let these sentences settle. The more you say them, the more they become part of your English identity. As we move forward, feel your mind becoming comfortable with these advanced patterns. You aren't memorizing. You are absorbing rhythm, tone, and expression. This is how fluent speakers learn, through repetition, context, and connection. Let your attention follow my voice naturally. English becomes easier when you stop pushing and start allowing. Let's build in the expressions we explored earlier into longer situations. Imagine you are at a social gathering and someone asks about your work life. Instead of, "It's okay," express yourself naturally. "It's been a real whirlwind lately, but I'm trying to keep on top of things." Repeat slowly. "It's been a real whirlwind lately, but I'm trying to keep on top of things." Keep on top of things means to manage and stay in control of your responsibilities. It makes your English sound precise. Let's expand. Sometimes you want to show you are working toward a goal, but aren't there yet. You can say, "I'm still navigating the learning curve." Repeat that. "I'm still navigating the learning curve." This phrase communicates honestly that something is new and challenging, but you are working through it. It's perfect for talking about learning English. If a friend asks how your studies are going, respond, "I'm still navigating the learning curve, but I feel I'm making real headway." Sounds confident and open. Now let's practice advanced vocabulary through context. The word steadily means at a consistent pace. Try this. "I'm steadily becoming more comfortable speaking." Say it naturally. Using adverbs like steadily, eventually, moderately, or significantly makes your English richer. Another useful word is tweak. To tweak means to make fine adjustments to improve something. For example, "I had to tweak my pronunciation of that word." Try saying that. Tweak my pronunciation. This word is very common in daily life regarding improving habits or work. Let's try another expression. "It caught me unawares." This phrase means something surprised you because you weren't expecting it. If someone asks a question you weren't prepared for, say, "That question caught me unawares." This is used in everyday English to communicate natural reactions. Now, let's move into guided speaking. Situation. Your boss asks, "Did you expect the client to react that way?" Your response, "Not at all. It really caught me unawares." Repeat gently. Situation. A friend asks about your English practice. Your response, "I'm steadily getting more comfortable." "I'm still navigating the learning curve, but I'm improving." These sentences reinforce natural patterns. Let's explore another powerful phrase. It's a work in progress. This communicates effort without pressure. If someone says your accent is good, respond, "Thanks, it's a work in progress." If asked if you feel fluent, say, It's a work in progress, but it's getting easier. Friendly, humble, natural. Now, build longer, complex sentences. Repeat. I've had the intention to practice more diligently, but my schedule has been a whirlwind, so I'm steadily tweaking my routine. This is what fluent speakers sound like, using time phrases, connectors, and realistic vocabulary. Say it again with flow. Let's add another phrase. It's a game changer. This means something is a significant shift that improves a situation immensely. For example, practicing shadowing was a game changer for my fluency. Repeat. It's a game changer. Now, pronunciation and rhythm. Listen to how native speakers connect sounds. It's a work in progress sounds like, it's a work in progress. Try saying it smoothly. I've had the intention to becomes, I've had a intention to. Listen, repeat, blend. Fluency is about comfort, not speed. Now, advanced vocabulary. Prioritize means to treat something as more important than other things. I'm trying to prioritize my listening practice. Repeat. Prioritize. Another word, ineffective. Translating every word in your head is ineffective. Repeat slowly. Let's practice real-life situations. If asked how you manage your tasks, instead of, I'm busy, say, I'm trying to prioritize better, but it's a learning curve. Say it slowly. Let's shift to listening training. Imagine you are preparing for a job interview. You have organized your thoughts and tweaked your resume. As the moment gets closer, you feel overwhelmed. You remind yourself, I've been working on this. I'm more prepared than I think. During the interview, a question catches you unawares. You pause and say, I'm still navigating the specifics of that software, but here is my experience with similar tools. After, you feel proud because you expressed yourself clearly under pressure. Now repeat key lines. I'm more prepared than I think. I'm still navigating the specifics. I managed to express myself clearly. Now let's explore more advanced expressions. To a limited extent means partly, but not fully. For example, I understand the theory to a limited extent, but I need practice. Repeat it. Another phrase is, that's understandable. This shows empathy and comprehension. Short dialogue. Person A says, learning English is exhausting. You reply, that's understandable, but improvement is unavoidable if you stay tenacious. Person A says, I get the grammar to a limited extent, but speaking is scary. You say, fair enough, speaking takes courage, but it's a game changer for fluency. Now let's build vocabulary. Envision means to imagine as a future possibility. Repeat. I didn't envision how challenging it would be to speak spontaneously. Consistent means acting the same way over time. Repeat. Shadowing is a consistent method for improving. Imagine explaining your progress. Instead of I am improving, say, I can feel myself improving steadily, and I didn't envision how much confidence I would gain. Here is another phrase. I'm finding my groove. It means you are becoming comfortable and proficient at something. Repeat slowly. I'm finding my groove. Now imagine a real situation on a video call. Someone asks how your English practice is. You say, I've had the intention to practice more, but my schedule has been a whirlwind. Still, I'm steadily finding my groove, and it's been a game changer. Pronunciation practice. Repeat. Real whirlwind. Again, real whirlwind. Now, finding my groove. Let's add emotional vocabulary. Driven, committed. Repeat. I feel driven to improve my English, and I am committed to speaking more fearlessly. Now, another short listening story. You join a weekly conversation group. At first, you feel nervous, but you realize you can follow the chat to a limited extent. When someone asks for your view, you hesitate, then say, I'm still navigating how to express complex thoughts, but I'll give it a shot. After the session, someone says, You did great today. You feel proud. Even though speaking caught you unawares at times, you participated. Now repeat, I'll give it a shot. I managed to participate. I feel proud of my progress. Let's continue with a final speaking practice. Repeat softly, naturally. I'm steadily becoming more fluent. I'm trying to prioritize English in my daily life. I'm finding my groove with expressing myself clearly. I didn't envision the confidence I would gain. I am committed to this journey. Let these sentences settle into your mind. The more you say them, the more they become part of your identity as an English speaker. As we move forward, feel how your mind is becoming comfortable with advanced English patterns. You aren't memorizing, you are absorbing rhythm. This is how fluent speakers learn. Think of this session as a long, gentle walk through the language where every step strengthens your confidence. There's no pressure here, just a smooth journey into deeper understanding. Now, let's introduce another powerful phrase advanced speakers use. I am in the midst of. This phrase is perfect for expressing actions that are currently happening and aren't finished yet. For example, I am in the midst of improving my accent, or I'm in the midst of restructuring my daily routine. Try saying it slowly. I am in the midst of improving. It sounds professional and immediate. You aren't claiming perfection, but you are showing active engagement. Let's place this phrase into a daily life situation. Imagine talking to a colleague about your skills. You might say, I am in the midst of becoming more fluent, and practicing daily has been a game changer. Repeat it gently. This shows humility and determination. Now let's build vocabulary through mental awareness. The word conscious means being awake and aware of what you are doing. You can say, I'm trying to be more conscious of my intonation. Another useful word is purposeful, meaning showing determination or resolve. Try this. I want to be more purposeful with my speaking time. Words like conscious and purposeful bring depth to your language regarding self-improvement. Now, let's practice a phrase for clear communication. It would be helpful if. This expression is polite, constructive, and incredibly useful. For example, it would be helpful if you could explain that again. Or, it would be helpful if you corrected my main mistakes. Try repeating it slowly. It would be helpful if. This phrase helps you make requests respectfully. Let's explore advanced vocabulary in a real-life example. Imagine you are at work discussing a team idea. Instead of, I disagree, say, I understand your standpoint, but I view it from a slightly different angle. Repeat it. This sentence shows respect and professional confidence. The phrase, I understand your standpoint, is frequently used to keep disagreements civil. Now, let's add another phrase. I'm receptive to feedback. This shows you are open-minded and willing to learn. If someone offers advice, say, Thanks, I'm receptive to feedback. It makes you sound approachable. Repeat it softly. I'm receptive to feedback. Now, let's expand your advanced vocabulary further. The word polish means to improve something already good by making minor alterations. You can polish your pronunciation, polish your writing, or polish your presentation skills. Try this. I want to polish my English fluency over time. Another useful word is precision, referring to the quality of being exact. You can say, I'm working on speaking with greater precision. Both polish and precision are perfect for discussing mastery. Now, let's move into a guided speaking exercise. Situation. Your friend asks how your English is going. Response. I'm in the midst of polishing my speaking skills, and I'm trying to be more purposeful with my practice. Say it slowly. Situation. Someone at work asks if you understood a complex idea. Response. I understand your standpoint, but it would be helpful if you could clarify the final part. Repeat it gently. Now, let's train your listening with a deeper story. Imagine you have joined a high-level study group. At first, you feel intimidated because everyone seems so articulate. But as the session begins, you realize everyone is still navigating their own challenges. You introduce yourself. I'm in the midst of building my fluency, and I'm receptive to feedback. The group smiles, welcoming your openness. Throughout the session, you practice. Sometimes you hesitate, sometimes you speak clearly, and sometimes you politely ask, it would be helpful if you could repeat that. When someone shares an opinion you differ with, you say, I understand your standpoint. By the end, you feel connected and prepared. This is real progress. Now, repeat after me. I'm in the midst of building fluency. Then repeat. I'm receptive to feedback. These phrases express growth and confidence. Now, let's expand into expressive vocabulary. Let's pair steadily with continuously. Try saying, I'm continuously and steadily improving my English. Another advanced word is poise, meaning graceful and elegant bearing in a person. You can say, I managed to maintain my poise during the difficult conversation. Try repeating that. These words help you speak at a higher level. Let's continue with advanced phrases. A useful one is up to a point, which we used earlier, but let's practice it again. I understand this concept up to a point, but I need more examples. Repeat it slowly. Another powerful phrase is, that's a valid perspective. This is a polite way to validate someone's opinion. You can say, that's a valid perspective, but I have a different view. Repeat that. These expressions help you communicate confidently in debates. Now, let's practice real-life context. Imagine discussing a big decision with a friend. You want to express understanding and disagreement. You might say, that's a valid perspective, and I understand your standpoint, but I'm not entirely convinced. Try repeating that. This is how native speakers communicate nuance. Let's bring in another advanced vocabulary word, daunting. It means seeming difficult to deal with in anticipation. You can say, sometimes learning English feels daunting, but I'm staying focused. Repeat it. Daunting. Another useful word is feasible, which means possible to do easily or conveniently. Try saying, I want to make my learning routine more feasible. These words help you express challenges maturely. Now, let's work with another phrase. I'd be interested to hear your take on this. This is a polite, advanced way to ask for an opinion. For example, I'd be interested to hear your take on my speaking practice. Repeat it slowly. Excellent for professional settings. Now, let's shift into another guided story for listening practice. Imagine preparing for an important conversation with a supervisor. You feel a bit daunted because you want to be clear. Before the meeting, you tell yourself, I'm in the midst of polishing my communication skills. When the meeting begins, your supervisor presents a new plan. You listen and say, that's a valid perspective, and I'd be interested to hear your take on one part I'm not clear about. Your supervisor appreciates your professionalism. Throughout the meeting, you maintain your poise, express thoughts clearly, and respond with phrases like, I understand your standpoint. When it ends, you feel proud of communicating with authenticity. Now repeat after me. I'm polishing my communication skills. Then repeat, I'd be interested to hear your take on this. These lines reinforce polite communication. Now let's add another layer of advanced vocabulary. The word perceptive describes having or showing sensitive insight. You can say, that was a very perceptive comment. Another word is viewpoint, which is another way to say perspective. You can say, I'd like to share my viewpoint. Let's practice putting these into context. Imagine you are in an English discussion group. After someone shares an opinion, you say, that's a perceptive viewpoint. Repeat it. Then imagine someone asks for your opinion. You respond, from my viewpoint, consistent practice is crucial. Try repeating that slowly. Now, let's deepen your speaking skills with another powerful phrase. I'm beginning to grasp that. This expression helps you communicate deeper understanding. For example, I'm beginning to grasp that fluency is more about connection than perfection. Repeat it. This is a phrase for reflective discussions. Now let's explore more advanced expressions. The phrase, it dawned on me that, means you suddenly realized something. Try saying, it dawned on me that I learn better when I am relaxed. Repeat it softly. This is a natural, reflective expression used in storytelling. Now, let's create a longer speaking prompt, integrating everything. I'm beginning to grasp that fluency improves when I speak without overthinking. It dawned on me that being conscious and purposeful with my practice makes everything more feasible. Repeat this slowly. These sentences help you feel how advanced English flows together. Now, let's build your listening skills even more with a new story. Imagine attending a workshop on communication. The instructor talks about clarity and tone. As you listen, it dawns on you that you have been improving more than you realized. During a group activity, someone shares a perceptive viewpoint about confidence. You respond politely, that's a valid perspective, and I understand your standpoint. Later, the instructor asks the group how they feel about their progress. You say, I'm in the midst of polishing my skills, and I'm beginning to grasp that consistent practice makes everything feel more feasible. The instructor smiles and says, that's a perceptive reflection. You leave feeling inspired. Now repeat these lines from the story. I'm beginning to grasp how much I've improved. Then repeat, I'm polishing my skills through consistent practice. These sentences reinforce your growth mindset. Now, let's add more vocabulary. The word substantial means of considerable importance, size, or worth. You can say, I've made substantial progress. Another word is productive, meaning achieving or producing a significant amount or result. You can say, I want to find more productive learning methods. Repeat both words slowly. Using substantial and productive helps you describe your progress precisely. Now, let's practice expressing opinions using advanced structure. Try saying, "As far as I'm concerned, staying consistent is the most productive way to make substantial progress." Repeat it. "As far as I'm concerned" is a common way to introduce an opinion. Let's practice with one more powerful phrase. "I'm learning to have faith in the journey." This means you believe that with time, improvement will come. Say it gently, "I'm learning to have faith in the journey." This phrase is encouraging and calm. Now, we'll continue with a final speaking exercise for this section. Repeat each sentence after me. "I'm continuously polishing my speaking skills." "I understand your standpoint and appreciate your viewpoint." "I'd be interested to hear your take on this." "It dawned on me that confidence grows with practice." "I'm learning to have faith in the journey." Let these sentences settle in your mind. Each one strengthens your fluency and deepens your connection to English. As we continue this masterclass here on In Moments, I want you to notice something subtle happening inside you. With every phrase you practice, English is becoming less of a foreign system and more of a natural language you live inside. This shift happens gradually through repeated exposure. Let your mind stay relaxed as we move forward. Let's continue with another powerful phrase that fluent speakers use often. "I've come to understand." This expression means you have reached a conclusion over time. For example, "I've come to understand that speaking regularly helps more than just studying grammar books." Try repeating it. "I've come to understand." This phrase is reflective and expressive. Let's build on that with a classic structure. The more X, the more Y. This pattern helps you express cause and effect naturally. For example, "The more I practice speaking, the more confident I feel." Repeat that slowly. Now try another. "The more I immerse myself in English, the more intuitive the language becomes." This structure is simple, but extremely powerful for expressing growth. Now, let's practice combining these expressions in a daily life sentence. Try saying, "I've come to understand that the more I use English in real situations, the more fluent I become." Let it flow naturally. Now, let's expand your vocabulary with words about change. The word life-changing describes something that creates huge, meaningful shifts. You can say, "Speaking practice has been life-changing for my confidence." Another useful word is liberating, which means freeing. Try this sentence. "Being able to express myself feels liberating." Repeat it slowly. These words help you express how learning affects you emotionally. Let's move into another advanced phrase. "It's becoming evident that." This expression helps you share observations. For example, "It's becoming evident that consistency is key." Repeat it gently. Now, let's place these phrases into context through speaking practice. Imagine someone asks how your English journey is going. You respond, "It's becoming evident that the more I practice, the more confident I feel." "I've come to understand how life-changing daily speaking can be." Repeat both sentences. Now let's shift into a longer listening exercise. Imagine that you have recently decided to increase your English speaking practice. You start each morning listening to short audio clips and repeating phrases. After a week, you begin to notice meaningful changes. You feel less hesitant. You speak with a smoother rhythm. One day, during a conversation, you surprise yourself by saying, "It's becoming evident that I'm actually getting the hang of this." Your friend smiles and says, "It really shows." In that moment, you feel liberated because you have come to understand that progress doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels gentle and steady. Now, repeat a few lines from this story. I'm actually getting the hang of this. Then repeat. I've come to understand that small habits make a big difference. These lines reinforce your confidence. Now, let's continue building vocabulary. The word nuanced means characterized by subtle shades of meaning. For example, I noticed nuanced changes in my fluency. Another useful word is incremental, describing something increasing slowly over time. You can say, my improvement has been incremental but consistent. Repeat both words, nuanced, incremental. These are advanced words for describing progress. Let's add another advanced phrase. Something that highlights this for me is. This phrase helps you emphasize a point. For example, something that highlights this for me is how natural English feels when I stop overthinking. Repeat it slowly. Now let's mix vocabulary and expressions in a short speaking exercise. Try saying, something that highlights this for me is how life-changing, consistent practice can be. Now try another sentence. I've come to understand that nuanced changes can lead to substantial improvement. These sentences sound natural and thoughtful. Now let's deepen your practice with a professional-style expression, as far as I can judge. This phrase means based on my observation. Try saying, as far as I can judge, I'm becoming more confident. Repeat it softly. Now let's build a more complex sentence using this phrase. Try saying, as far as I can judge, my listening skills have improved because I'm not translating as much. Repeat it. Now let's shift into a new listening story. Imagine you have started participating in English meetings at work. At first, you barely speak because everything feels fast. But over time, you begin to catch phrases. One day, you contribute a full idea. Your colleague nods and says, "That's a valid point." After the meeting, you reflect. You think, as far as I can judge, I'm becoming more comfortable expressing myself. This realization makes you smile because the change felt incremental, but the impact was substantial. Now repeat these lines. I am becoming more comfortable expressing myself. Then repeat, as far as I can judge, my progress is real. These sentences build confidence. Now let's explore more vocabulary you can use daily. The word versatile means able to adapt to many different functions or activities. You can say, I'm trying to be more versatile in my vocabulary usage. Another word is eloquent, which means fluent or persuasive in speaking. For example, I want to become more eloquent when I speak English. Repeat both words slowly. Versatile, eloquent. Now let's put them into practice. Imagine someone asks about your English goals. You respond, I want to become more eloquent, and I'm trying to be versatile in different speaking situations. Repeat that gently. Now let's practice another useful phrase. I'm starting to feel more settled. This means you feel more comfortable or established in a situation. Try repeating it slowly. I'm starting to feel more settled. Now let's integrate everything into a daily life example. Imagine speaking with a friend about your English journey. You say, lately, I'm starting to feel more settled when I speak. I've come to understand that the more I practice, the more natural it becomes. Repeat that smoothly. Now let's deepen your listening skills with another story. Imagine attending a seminar on communication. The speaker discusses clarity and eloquence. As you listen, you think, something that highlights this for me is how important it is to express thoughts clearly. After the seminar, you practice a few sentences to yourself. You say, I want to become more eloquent. I'm in the midst of polishing my speaking skills. The sentences feel strong. When someone asks what you thought of the seminar, you respond, "It was perceptive. It made me realize how nuanced changes can lead to substantial improvement." Now repeat these lines. It made me realize how nuanced changes matter. Then repeat, I'm polishing my speaking skills. Let the rhythm flow naturally. Now let's add another advanced phrase. My observation is that. This phrase helps you talk about what you see. For example, my observation is that speaking out loud helps my fluency. Repeat it. Let's expand it into a longer sentence. My observation is that the more I listen to English, the more I understand without trying. Repeat it slowly. Now let's practice another daily life expression. I'm making a deliberate attempt to. This means you are doing something intentionally. Try saying, I'm making a deliberate attempt to practice English every day. Repeat it softly. Now let's bring these ideas together in a short speaking prompt. Try saying, my observation is that the more I practice, the more confident I feel. I'm making a deliberate attempt to improve, and it's becoming evident that it works. Say it again naturally. Now let's move into another detailed listening story. Imagine you are preparing for an important conversation in English, perhaps a job interview. You spend the week practicing. You repeat phrases, improve your pronunciation, and polish your sentences. On the day of the conversation, you feel slightly nervous but settled. You sit down and begin speaking. At first slowly, but gradually you find your rhythm. You answer questions clearly. You express your thoughts eloquently. When the conversation ends, you feel relief and pride. Later, as you reflect, you think, my observation is that preparation makes me feel more settled. I've come to understand how powerful consistent practice can be. This experience becomes life-changing, helping you trust yourself. Now repeat these lines. Preparation helps me feel more settled. Then repeat, I've come to understand that consistency is life-changing. These sentences reinforce your internal belief. Now let's expand with more advanced vocabulary. The word beneficial means resulting in good, favorable, or advantageous. You can say, I appreciate beneficial feedback. Another useful word is calculated, meaning done with full awareness and intent. You can say, I'm taking a calculated approach to my speaking practice. Repeat, beneficial, calculated. Now let's add an advanced expression for polite disagreement. I appreciate your point of view, but I'd like to propose an alternative. Try saying that slowly. This phrase is extremely valuable in professional discussions. Let's practice forming a full conversation. Imagine someone says, I think learning grammar is the most important thing. You respond politely, I appreciate your point of view, but I'd like to propose an alternative. Speaking builds confidence in a more practical way. Repeat it gently. Now let's practice expressing uncertainty in a fluent way. The phrase, I'm somewhat uncertain, but helps you communicate politely when you aren't sure. Try saying, I'm somewhat uncertain, but I think practicing every day is more effective. Repeat it. Now let's strengthen your pronunciation awareness again. Listen to how these expressions blend naturally. I've come to understand. I'm making a deliberate attempt. My observation is that. Practice saying these phrases smoothly without pausing between words. Now let's shift into emotional vocabulary. The word heartening means something that makes you feel happier and more hopeful. You can say, "It's heartening to see my progress." Another useful word is inspiring. You can say, "Listening to English successes is inspiring." Repeat both words gently. Now, let's imagine another listening scenario. You are speaking with a friend about your English journey. They tell you, "Your improvement is marked." Hearing this feels heartening, and you respond, "That means a lot. I'm making a deliberate attempt to improve." Your friend smiles and says, "It's really inspiring to see someone so determined." You walk away feeling encouraged, thinking, "I've come to understand that support makes the journey easier." Now repeat these lines. "It's heartening to see my progress." Then repeat, "I'm inspired to keep going." These phrases support your emotional connection to the language. Let's continue with another reflective speaking practice for this section. Repeat each sentence softly. My observation is that I'm becoming more fluent. I've come to understand that improvement takes time. I'm starting to feel more settled when I speak. I'm making a deliberate attempt to stay consistent. It's becoming evident that my hard work is paying off. Let these words settle into your mind here at In Moments. Each one strengthens your identity as an English speaker. As we continue building your fluency, notice how your relationship with English is slowly shifting. You aren't just learning new words, you are learning how to live in the language. Let's move further with another powerful phrase that you can use in advanced conversations. I'm beginning to get a better overview of. This expression helps you communicate growing understanding of a bigger picture. For example, I'm beginning to get a better overview of how to structure my thoughts in English. Repeat that slowly. I'm beginning to get a better overview of. Now, let's combine that with another expression. It sounds very logical when you put it that way. This is a natural, polite response to someone who has explained something well. Try practicing it. It sounds very logical when you put it that way. Using this phrase in conversation shows appreciation and comprehension. Now, let's create a small speaking exercise. Imagine someone is helping you understand an English concept. You respond, "I'm beginning to get a better overview of it now." It sounds very logical when you put it that way. Repeat that gently. Now, let's work with new vocabulary that will elevate your fluency. The word thorough describes something complete with regard to every detail. For example, I want to build a thorough understanding of English. Another useful word is adjustable, which means able to be changed or adapted. You can say, "I'm trying to keep my learning strategies adjustable." Repeat both words, thorough, adjustable. Now, let's create a longer, more advanced sentence using both words. Try saying, "I'm trying to develop a thorough understanding of English by keeping my learning methods adjustable." Repeat it slowly. Now, let's move into a real-life listening story to help you improve comprehension. Imagine you have signed up for a new English workshop. The instructor discusses different approaches to learning. As you listen, you start to get a better overview of what works best for you. The instructor shares a story about a student who improved dramatically by practicing daily. You nod and think, "That sounds very logical." During the workshop, you participate in a group activity. Gradually, you begin to speak more confidentially. When the activity ends, the instructor says, "Your participation was excellent." You feel motivated, realizing that being adjustable makes a huge difference. Now, repeat these lines from the story. I'm starting to get a better overview of what works for me. Then repeat. Being adjustable helps me improve faster. Now, let's introduce another phrase that will help you communicate reflection. One thing I'm starting to appreciate is that. This phrase is perfect for talking about insights. Try practicing it slowly. For example, one thing I'm starting to appreciate is that fluency comes from consistent practice. Repeat it gently. Now, let's expand with emotional vocabulary. The word promising describes something that shows signs of future success. You can say, "It's promising to see small improvements." Another useful word is trustworthy. For example, daily practice is a trustworthy method. Repeat these words: promising, trustworthy. Now, let's place these into context. Imagine you are speaking with a friend who asks about your progress. You respond, "It's promising to notice small improvements." One thing I'm starting to appreciate is that practicing a little every day is a trustworthy method. Repeat that naturally. Now let's introduce another extremely useful advanced phrase. I've been contemplating. This expression helps you talk about thoughts you have been considering deeply. For example, I've been contemplating my speaking habits and how they affect my fluency. Try repeating it slowly. I've been contemplating. Now, let's build a more complex natural sentence. Try saying, "I've been contemplating my progress, and I'm beginning to understand what I need to focus on next." Repeat it softly. Now, let's shift into another listening story to help you practice comprehension and rhythm. Imagine you are taking a quiet walk in the evening. As you walk, you begin contemplating your English journey. You think about the times you hesitated and the times you felt confident. As you walk, you say quietly to yourself, "One thing I'm starting to appreciate is that progress often feels invisible until suddenly something becomes easier." You breathe in and feel a sense of calm. You tell yourself, "It's promising to see how far I've come." Later, you watch a short English video and realize you understand more than before. You think, "I'm starting to get a better overview of what fluency feels like." Now repeat these lines. Progress often feels invisible until it shows. Then repeat, "I'm starting to get a better overview of my improvement." Now, let's add new vocabulary to describe change and improvement. The word marked means distinct or noticeable. You can say, "My improvement is becoming marked." Another useful word is considerable, which means notably large in size, amount, or extent. Try saying, "I've made considerable progress lately." Repeat both words softly. Marked, considerable. Now, let's create example sentences. Try saying, "My listening skills are showing marked improvement." Then try, "I've made considerable progress by practicing consistently." Now, let's explore another useful phrase. I'm slowly becoming more conscious of. This phrase helps you communicate growing awareness. Try saying, "I'm slowly becoming more conscious of how English sounds in natural speech." Repeat it slowly. Now, let's place it into a full sentence. Try saying, "I'm slowly becoming more conscious of pronunciation patterns and natural intonation." Repeat it naturally. Now, let's move into another guided speaking practice here on In Moments. Repeat after me slowly. I'm slowly becoming more conscious of my strengths as a speaker. It's promising to see marked progress. I've been contemplating how my confidence has grown. One thing I'm starting to appreciate is that fluency develops over time. It sounds very logical when I practice regularly. Say these sentences gently, allowing your voice to follow the rhythm of natural English. Now, let's expand with more emotional vocabulary. The word reassuring describes something that removes doubts or fears. You can say, "It's reassuring to know that improvement is possible." Another useful word is gratifying, which describes something giving pleasure or satisfaction. For example, seeing progress is extremely gratifying. Repeat these words: reassuring, gratifying. Now, let's incorporate them into natural conversation. Try saying, "It's reassuring to know that even small steps lead to fluency." Seeing progress feels gratifying. Repeat it softly. Now, let's shift into another listening story for deeper comprehension. Imagine you have been practicing English consistently. You listen to an English podcast and understand almost everything. You feel surprised and proud. Later, you meet a friend and say, "It's gratifying to see marked improvement. I've been contemplating what made the difference." Your friend asks what you found. You respond, "One thing I'm starting to appreciate is that the more I speak out loud, the more natural the language feels. It's reassuring to see that effort really works." Now, repeat these sentences. Speaking out loud makes the language feel natural. Then repeat, "Effort really works." Now let's move into more advanced vocabulary. The word purposefulness refers to the quality of having a definite purpose. Try saying purposefulness. In practice, helps me learn faster. Another useful word is application, which means the action of putting something into operation. Try this. The real challenge is the application of what I learn in conversations. Repeat both words slowly. Purposefulness, application. Now let's create longer sentences. Try saying, "I'm practicing with more purposefulness, and I'm improving the application of new vocabulary." Repeat it carefully. Now let's introduce another advanced phrase. It's becoming increasingly evident that. This phrase helps you emphasize growing clarity. For example, it's becoming increasingly evident that daily practice is essential. Repeat it softly. Now let's build it into a full sentence. Try saying, "It's becoming increasingly evident that my confidence grows when I speak without overthinking." Repeat it gently. Now let's move into a guided speaking exercise using everything we've learned in this section. Say each line softly. "I'm starting to get a better overview of how to express myself. It's becoming increasingly evident that consistency works. I've been contemplating my habits and progress. It's gratifying to see considerable improvement. I want to continue practicing with purposefulness." Now let's shift into another listening story to deepen your comprehension. Imagine attending a virtual English meetup. At first, you feel nervous. The host asks participants to introduce themselves. Your voice shakes slightly, but you say, "Hi, I'm working on improving my fluency, and I'm starting to get a better overview of what helps me grow." The host smiles. As the meeting continues, you participate. You use phrases like, "It sounds very logical," And one thing I'm starting to appreciate is you notice your comprehension improving. At the end, the host praises your participation. You feel proud and think, it's becoming increasingly evident that showing up consistently is gratifying. Now repeat these lines. Showing up consistently is gratifying. Then repeat. I'm getting a better overview of my fluency. Now let's expand with even more vocabulary. The word cumulative means increasing by successive additions. You can say, language learning is a cumulative process. Another useful word is establish, which means to set up on a firm and permanent basis. You can say, I'm establishing a stronger foundation in English. Repeat both words, cumulative, establish. Now let's build example sentences. I am establishing a more confident speaking style. My fluency improvement feels cumulative and natural. Repeat them smoothly. Now let's continue with a final speaking practice for this part. Say each line softly. My observation is that my progress feels more natural now. I've been contemplating how gratifying this journey is. I'm slowly becoming more conscious of my fluency. It sounds very logical to keep practicing daily. I'm establishing a stronger foundation with every lesson. Let these sentences settle into your mind. As we continue this masterclass with Elena on In Moments, feel how each new phrase is shaping your fluency from the inside out. Let's continue with another powerful phrase that fluent speakers use often. I'm becoming increasingly cognizant that. This phrase is a more formal way to say you are becoming aware of something. Try saying it slowly. I'm becoming increasingly cognizant that. Now, let's complete it. I'm becoming increasingly cognizant that fluency grows through consistency. Repeat that gently. This expression helps you sound very professional and thoughtful. Now, let's continue by introducing another advanced phrase. It has been brought to my attention that. This phrase is useful in professional conversations when you want to express that you have learned something new from an outside source. For example, it has been brought to my attention that many people improve faster when they practice aloud. Repeat the phrase softly. This structure makes your speech sound polished. Let's place both phrases into a short speaking practice. Try saying, I'm becoming increasingly cognizant that daily practice helps me grow. It has been brought to my attention that speaking out loud accelerates fluency. Repeat the full passage slowly. These sentences represent advanced English usage. Now, let's deepen your vocabulary. The word bolster means to support or strengthen. You can say, practicing every day bolsters my confidence. Another useful word is streamline, which means to make a system more efficient. I want to streamline my learning routine. Repeat both words, bolster, streamline. Let's place them in context. Try saying, speaking regularly bolsters my fluency, and I'm trying to streamline the way I practice. Repeat that gently. Now let's move into a new listening story. Imagine you join a discussion group about learning. Someone says, I'm becoming increasingly cognizant that speaking without fear is the key. You smile, agreeing. Another participant adds, it has been brought to my attention that slow, clear practice helps more than fast conversations. You nod. When it's your turn, you say, I've been trying to streamline my learning routine, and practicing every morning bolsters my comfort with English. The group listens thoughtfully. After the session, one member tells you your contributions were very clear. Hearing that motivates you further. Now, repeat these lines from the story. Practicing every morning bolsters my comfort. Then repeat. I'm becoming increasingly cognizant of what works for me. Now let's learn another advanced expression. I'm trying to find a happy medium between. This is a natural idiom used to describe finding a balance between two things. For example, I'm trying to find a happy medium between learning new vocabulary and practicing conversation. Repeat it slowly. Find a happy medium. Now let's combine it with a new vocabulary word, designate, which means to assign to a specific task. Try this sentence. I'm trying to find a happy medium between work and English practice, so I designate time each morning to speaking. Repeat it carefully. Now let's continue with more emotional vocabulary. The word satisfying describes something that gives you a sense of fulfillment. You can say, learning English feels satisfying. Another useful word, buoyant, means cheerful and optimistic. Try saying, positive feedback makes me feel buoyant. Repeat both words softly. Satisfying, buoyant. Now place them into context. Try saying, my English journey feels satisfying, and noticing improvement makes me feel buoyant. Repeat that gently. Now let's move into a guided speaking exercise using a new phrase. My ultimate goal is. This phrase helps you express long-term objectives clearly. Try this. My ultimate goal is natural, confident communication. Repeat it slowly. Let's complete it in a longer sentence. My ultimate goal is natural, confident communication. And I'm becoming increasingly cognizant that daily practice helps me get there. Repeat the full sentence. Now let's continue with vocabulary related to thinking and learning. The word assess means to evaluate or quality. You can say, I assess my progress every week. Another useful word is modification, which means a change made. For example, I make small modifications to my learning routine. Repeat both words, assess, modification. Now place them together in a natural sentence. I assess my progress regularly and make small modifications to improve my fluency. Repeat it carefully. Now let's shift into another listening story. Imagine you have been practicing English consistently. Each week, you assess your habits and make modifications. One day, during a conversation, you realize you are speaking more naturally. You respond confidently. After the conversation, you think, my ultimate goal is starting to feel more real. Later, you say to yourself, I'm trying to find a happy medium between learning and practicing, and it's becoming increasingly evident that these small modifications are helping. The realization feels satisfying. Now repeat these lines. These small modifications are helping. Then repeat, my ultimate goal is becoming real. Now, let's add another advanced phrase. I'm slowly learning the ropes of. This idiom means you are learning how to do a particular activity. Try repeating it. I'm slowly learning the ropes of. Now complete it. I'm slowly learning the ropes of more complex conversations. Repeat it softly. Now, let's pair that with a new vocabulary word, elaborate, which means involving carefully arranged parts. For example, elaborate sentences are becoming easier to understand. Repeat the word slowly. Elaborate. Now, try the full sentence. I'm slowly learning the ropes of elaborate conversations with more ease. Repeat it naturally. Now, let's explore another advanced phrase. I'm beginning to absorb. This means you are taking something in deeply. Try saying, I'm beginning to absorb natural English rhythm. Repeat it gently. Now, let's combine it with another deep vocabulary word, underpinning, meaning a solid foundation. For example, I'm building strong underpinnings for my communication skills. Repeat it slowly. Now, combine the two ideas. I'm beginning to absorb essential structures and build strong underpinnings for fluency. Repeat the full sentence. Now, let's move into a longer listening story. Imagine sitting in a cafe reviewing new phrases. As you repeat each one, you feel yourself absorbing the rhythm. You hear a conversation behind you in fast English. Surprisingly, you understand most of it. You smile and think, I'm slowly learning the ropes of real conversations. You write in your notebook, it's becoming increasingly evident that I'm improving. Later, you reflect, my ultimate goal feels closer every day. Now, repeat these lines. I'm slowly learning the ropes of real conversations. Then repeat, I'm beginning to absorb natural speech. Now, let's expand with more vocabulary. The word enhancement means an increase in quality. You can say, my speaking needs some enhancement. Another word is impetus, something that makes a process happen more quickly. You can say, I'm gaining impetus in my learning. Repeat both words, enhancement, impetus. Now, build a natural sentence. My fluency is gaining impetus as I continue the enhancement of my speaking skills. Repeat it slowly. Now, let's introduce another advanced expression. I'm gradually putting the pieces together. This phrase means you are slowly understanding how different parts connect. Try saying it. I'm gradually putting the pieces together. Now complete it. I'm gradually putting the pieces together regarding how English expressions fit into real conversations. Repeat it gently. Now, let's place that into a longer, advanced sentence. I'm gradually putting the pieces together regarding how rhythm, pronunciation, and expression create natural communication. Repeat it slowly. Now, let's deepen your fluency with another listening story here on In Moments. Imagine you are practicing shadowing exercises. At first, it feels challenging, but slowly you find your flow. You think, I'm gaining impetus. As you keep practicing, you notice subtle improvements, confidence rising steadily. Later, you write, I'm putting the pieces together to form the foundation of real fluency. It's becoming increasingly evident that everything is connecting. Now, repeat these lines. Everything is connecting. Then repeat. I'm gaining impetus with every practice session. Now let's continue with a final speaking practice for this section. Repeat each line softly and naturally. I'm becoming increasingly cognizant of how my fluency is growing. I'm trying to find a happy medium in my learning routine. I've been contemplating what helps me improve the most. I'm slowly learning the ropes of complex conversations. I'm gaining impetus and building stronger underpinnings every day. Let these lines settle into your mind. As we move further into today's masterclass with me, Elena, Notice how much more naturally English is beginning to flow through you. You are building consistency right here, right now. Let's continue this journey together. Let's continue with a very natural, advanced phrase. I'm starting to get the drift that. This is an idiomatic way to say you are beginning to understand the general meaning of something. Try saying it slowly. I'm starting to get the drift that. Now let's complete it. I'm starting to get the drift that fluency develops through real-life usage. Repeat it gently. This phrase is very natural in casual, advanced conversation. Now let's introduce another powerful expression. It's gradually dawning on me that. This phrase describes an understanding that becomes clearer slowly over time. For example, it's gradually dawning on me that I don't need perfect grammar to communicate clearly. Repeat it softly. This sentence brings relief and confidence. Let's combine both expressions in a natural conversation-style practice. Try saying, I'm starting to get the drift that practice matters more than perfection. And it's gradually dawning on me that confidence comes from using the language. Repeat that smoothly. Now let's expand your vocabulary with two advanced words. The word persistent refers to continuing firmly in spite of difficulty. You can say, I'm trying to stay persistent with my practice. Another useful word is milestone, which refers to a significant stage in development. For example, I recently reached a milestone in my listening skills. Repeat both words. Persistent. Milestone. Now let's integrate them into a natural sentence. Try saying, staying persistent eventually leads to reaching milestones in fluency. Repeat that slowly. Now let's shift into an immersive listening story. Imagine you have been practicing English persistently every day. One day, you watch an English video without subtitles, expecting to understand only a little, but you understand almost everything. You pause the video and think, I think I just reached a milestone. Later, you tell a friend, it's gradually dawning on me that persistence truly works. Now repeat these lines. I think I just reached a milestone. Then repeat, it's gradually dawning on me that persistence works. Now let's introduce another expression often used by advanced speakers. I'm seeing tangible progress in. Tangible means something real that can be seen. Try saying, I'm seeing tangible progress in understanding natural speech. Repeat it gently. Now let's add two more advanced vocabulary words. The word engrossing means absolutely absorbing attention. You can say, engrossing practice helps me learn faster. Another useful word is instinctive, meaning doing something naturally without thinking. For example, I'm learning to respond more instinctively in conversations. Repeat both words softly. Engrossing, instinctive. Now let's combine them in context. Try saying, engrossing listening helps me respond more instinctively in real conversations. Repeat it slowly. Now let's continue with another speaking exercise using the phrase, I'm beginning to build up the nerve to. This is an idiom, meaning you are gathering the courage to do something. Try repeating it. I'm beginning to build up the nerve to. Now complete it. I'm beginning to build up the nerve to join English conversations without overthinking. Repeat that slowly. This expression communicates emotional growth. Now, let's place this into a longer advanced sentence. Try saying, I'm beginning to build up the nerve to participate instinctively, and that feels incredibly empowering. Repeat it gently. Now, let's shift into another listening story to strengthen comprehension. Imagine you are participating in a group conversation for the first time. At first, you feel shy. But as the conversation continues, you begin to notice familiar expressions. Your heart beats faster as you prepare to speak. Then, without overthinking, you share a short comment. Everyone listens and responds positively. After the conversation, you think, I'm beginning to build up the nerve to express myself in real time. That realization feels like a milestone. Now repeat these lines. I can express myself in real time. Then repeat, I'm beginning to build up the nerve. Now let's add more advanced vocabulary. The word convince means to cause belief. You can say, I'm learning how to convince others using clear language. Another word is enunciation, referring to pronouncing words clearly. You can say, my enunciation is improving. Repeat both words, convince, enunciation. Now let's create a natural sentence using both. Try saying, clear enunciation makes it easier to convince others in discussions. Repeat it gently. Now let's learn another phrase. I'm getting more accustomed to the notion of. This phrase helps you express growing acceptance of an idea. Try repeating it. I'm getting more accustomed to the notion of. Now complete it. I'm getting more accustomed to the notion of speaking English publicly. Repeat it slowly. Now let's expand it in a longer sentence. Try saying, I'm getting more accustomed to the notion of expressing myself openly, even if my English isn't perfect. Repeat that gently. Now let's shift into a guided reflection story. Imagine sitting at your desk practicing English pronunciation. At first, you feel embarrassed speaking aloud, but slowly the hesitation fades. You are becoming more accustomed to the notion of speaking confidently. One evening, you record your voice and notice that your enunciation has improved. You whisper to yourself, I'm seeing tangible progress. The realization feels reassuring. Now repeat these lines. I'm seeing tangible progress. Then repeat, I'm getting more accustomed to the notion of speaking. Now let's introduce more vocabulary to deepen your expression. The word elucidate means to explain. You can say, I asked my teacher to elucidate the meaning. Another word is realign, meaning to change focus. You can say, I need to realign my focus on speaking practice. Repeat both words slowly. Elucidate, realign. Now let's build an advanced sentence. Try saying, I'm trying to realign my efforts and elucidate what I need to improve. Repeat it gently. Now let's learn another phrase. It's becoming apparent that. This means something is becoming clearly understood. Try saying it slowly. It's becoming apparent that. Now complete it. It's becoming apparent that daily exposure strengthens fluency. Repeat it. Now let's place it in a longer sentence. Try saying, it's becoming apparent that consistent practice and engrossing listening are shaping my English in powerful ways. Repeat gently. Now let's move into another listening story here on In Moments to support deep comprehension. Imagine sitting in a library reading an English book. Eventually, you start understanding whole paragraphs without stopping. You run your finger along the page, feeling proud. Later, someone asks how your learning is going. You respond, "It's becoming apparent that my reading skills are improving. I am starting to get the drift that exposure builds familiarity." You continue reading with renewed motivation. Now repeat these lines. Exposure builds familiarity. Then repeat. It's becoming apparent that I'm improving. Now let's add new vocabulary to broaden your communication skills. The word honing refers to refining something over time. For example, my pronunciation needs some honing. Another word, congruence, refers to harmony or compatibility. You can say, "My goals are coming into congruence with my methods." Repeat both words, honing, congruence. Now let's create a natural sentence. Try saying, "I'm working on the honing of my speaking skills, and I'm bringing my habits into congruence with my goals." Repeat it slowly. Now let's learn another powerful expression. One thing that has become increasingly plain is that. Plain here means clear. Try practicing it. One thing that has become increasingly plain is that. Now complete it. One thing that has become increasingly plain is that fluency grows through repetition. Repeat it gently. Now let's place that into a longer natural sentence. Try saying, "One thing that has become increasingly plain is that listening and speaking regularly create lasting improvement." Repeat it slowly. Now let's shift into another immersive listening story. Imagine you are practicing shadowing. At first, the exercise feels difficult, but soon your tongue relaxes and you start to enjoy it. You think to yourself, "One thing that has become increasingly plain is that repetition works." Later, you join a conversation and speak more naturally than ever. Your friend says, "I didn't realize how fluent you've become." You whisper to yourself, "It's gradually dawning on me that I'm improving." The confidence feels real. Now repeat these lines. Repetition works. Then repeat. "It's gradually dawning on me that I'm getting better." Now let's expand your vocabulary further. The word evolution refers to gradual development. You can say, "I'm experiencing an evolution from basic to advanced English." Another word is proficiency, meaning a high degree of skill. For example, "I'm building proficiency through practice." Repeat both words, evolution, proficiency. Now create a longer sentence. Try saying, "I'm experiencing an evolution toward higher levels of proficiency, and it feels empowering." Repeat it gently. Now let's practice with another phrase. "I'm finally beginning to have confidence in myself when." Complete it naturally. "I'm finally beginning to have confidence in myself when speaking in conversations." Repeat it slowly. Now let's place it into a fluent sentence. "I'm finally beginning to have confidence in myself when speaking, and that is opening new opportunities." Repeat gently. Now let's continue with a final speaking practice for this segment. Repeat each line slowly, letting the rhythm feel natural. "I'm starting to get the drift that fluency grows through use. It's gradually dawning on me that persistence is powerful. I'm seeing tangible progress every week. I'm becoming more accustomed to the notion of expressing myself. One thing that has become increasingly plain is that I'm improving." Let these sentences settle inside you. Each repetition strengthens your fluency from within. As we continue this masterclass with me, Elena, on In Moments, I want you to feel the depth of your progress. You are allowing English to become part of your inner voice, and that transformation is incredibly meaningful. Let's continue with a useful advanced phrase. I'm beginning to detect nuanced improvements in. Repeat that slowly. I'm beginning to detect nuanced improvements in. Now complete it. I'm beginning to detect nuanced improvements in my speaking confidence. Repeat it gently. Now let's add another expression. I never fully appreciated how much it helps to. Try repeating it. I never fully appreciated how much it helps to. Now complete it. I never fully appreciated how much it helps to speak aloud even when I'm alone. Repeat softly. Now let's combine them in a longer sentence. Try saying, I'm beginning to detect nuanced improvements in my fluency, and I never fully appreciated how much it helps to practice aloud regularly. Repeat that at a comfortable pace. Now let's introduce new vocabulary that strengthens your ability to express emotional and mental growth. The word acclimatized means accustomed to new conditions. You can say, I'm becoming acclimatized to thinking in English. Another word is forward-looking, meaning favoring development. You can say, I'm trying to take a forward-looking approach to my learning. Repeat both words slowly. Acclimatized, forward-looking. Now create a natural sentence using both. I'm becoming more acclimatized to English, and I'm taking a forward-looking approach to my practice. Repeat that. Now let's move into a listening story to deepen comprehension here on In Moments. Imagine walking home and playing an English audio. You start whispering phrases along with the speaker. You feel your tongue relaxing, your rhythm becoming smoother. You think to yourself, I'm becoming acclimatized to speaking naturally. Later, you look in the mirror and whisper, I never fully appreciated how much it helps to speak aloud, even in tiny moments. That realization feels empowering. Now repeat these lines. I'm becoming acclimatized to natural English. Then repeat, speaking aloud helps more than I appreciated. Now let's introduce another advanced expression. I'm slowly coming to recognize that. Repeat it slowly. I'm slowly coming to recognize that. Now complete it. I'm slowly coming to recognize that fluency grows from meaningful practice, not perfection. Repeat it gently. Now let's add two advanced vocabulary words. The word construe means to interpret an action in a particular way. You can say, I'm learning how to construe complex sentences. Another word is accommodation, the process of adapting to something. You can say, my brain is making accommodations as I learn English. Repeat both words softly. Construe, accommodation. Now place them into a natural sentence. I'm slowly coming to recognize that my ability to construe English is improving through constant mental accommodation. Repeat that gently. Now let's create a speaking prompt. Imagine someone asks how you feel about your progress. You respond, I'm slowly coming to recognize that small habits make a big difference, and my mind is accommodating the new language every day. Repeat that slowly. Now let's move into a new listening story for deeper engagement. Imagine reading a book in English. You begin construing the meaning more quickly. You whisper quietly, I'm slowly coming to recognize how much easier this is becoming. A soft feeling of pride flows through you. Later, you message a friend and say, I never fully appreciated how much progress comes from small, consistent steps. This reflection strengthens your motivation. Now repeat these lines. Progress comes from small, consistent steps. Then repeat, I'm accommodating and growing. Now let's expand your vocabulary with two expressive words. The phrase strike a chord means to cause emotion or enthusiasm. You can say, this method really strikes a chord with me. Another word is turning point, a time at which a decisive change occurs. For example, this lesson led to a turning point in my understanding. Repeat both words. Strikes a chord. Turning point. Now create a natural sentence. Hearing real conversations strikes a chord with me, and sometimes it leads to turning points I didn't expect. Repeat it gently. Now let's explore another advanced phrase. I'm becoming more cognizant of the structures in. Repeat. I'm becoming more cognizant of the structures in. Now complete it. I'm becoming more cognizant of the structures in natural English speech. Repeat it quietly. Now let's place that phrase into context. Try saying, I'm becoming more cognizant of the structures in pronunciation, and it's helping me speak more confidentially. Repeat it at a slow pace. Now let's shift into another listening story to strengthen comprehension. Imagine listening to native speakers. As you listen, certain patterns begin standing out. You begin recognizing repeated expressions and structures. You whisper softly, I'm becoming more cognizant of the structures. For the first time, you feel like the language is opening itself to you. Now repeat these lines. The structures are becoming clearer. Then repeat. The language feels more familiar. Now let's introduce new vocabulary. Commit to memory means to learn perfectly. You can say, I commit vocabulary to memory better when I use it in conversation. Another word is incrementalism, a policy of making changes by degrees. You can say, language learning requires incrementalism. Repeat. Commit to memory. Incrementalism. Now let's form a natural sentence. I commit words to memory better through incrementalism and everyday practice. Repeat it slowly. Now let's practice another advanced expression. I'm gradually reconfiguring the way I... Try repeating it slowly. I'm gradually reconfiguring the way I... Now complete it. I'm gradually reconfiguring the way I think in English. Repeat it gently. Now let's combine it with a reflective tone. Try saying, I'm gradually reconfiguring the way I understand conversations, and it feels empowering. Repeat it naturally. Now let's strengthen listening through another story here on In Moments. Imagine having a simple conversation in English. At first, you feel nervous, but then the conversation flows smoothly. You use some advanced expressions without thinking. After the conversation, you reflect. You whisper to yourself, I'm gradually reconfiguring the way I think, and it's becoming easier. You feel relief, realizing your practice is paying off. Now repeat these lines. It's becoming easier to think in English. Then repeat. I'm reconfiguring my communication style. Now let's add more vocabulary. The word foster means to encourage development. You can say, I'm trying to foster better speaking habits. Another word is tenacity, the quality of being determined. You can say, tenacity is essential for fluency. Repeat both words, foster tenacity. Now combine them naturally. I'm fostering confidence through tenacity. Repeat it slowly. Now let's introduce a new phrase. I'm starting to pinpoint what is most effective for me. Try repeating it slowly. Now complete it. I'm starting to pinpoint what is most effective for me in terms of practice and learning style. Repeat gently. Now let's place this into context. Imagine you have tried different learning methods, and slowly you realize which ones help you the most. You say, I'm starting to pinpoint what is most effective for me, and that clarity feels empowering. Now repeat these lines. I know what is most effective for me. Then repeat, I'm gaining clarity in my learning. Now let's shift into another listening story. Imagine practicing speaking with an online partner. You catch yourself using advanced phrases without hesitation. You say, I never fully appreciated how much this helps. Your partner replies, practice really shapes your fluency. After the session, you reflect. You whisper, I'm starting to pinpoint what is most effective for me. This kind of practice strikes a chord deeply. Now let's expand your vocabulary with two more advanced words. The word lucidity means clarity of expression. You can say, my sentences are gaining lucidity. Another word is exactitude, meaning the quality of being precise. You can say, I'm aiming for more exactitude in my speaking. Repeat both words slowly. Lucidity, exactitude. Now combine them. I'm learning to express myself with more lucidity and exactitude. Repeat it naturally. Now let's introduce a final phrase. I'm starting to have deeper faith in the process. Repeat it slowly. Now complete it. I'm starting to have deeper faith in the process, and I can feel myself transforming. Repeat that gently. Now let's integrate everything into one final reflective speaking practice. Say each line softly. I'm starting to detect nuanced improvements in my fluency. I'm becoming acclimatized to thinking naturally in English. I'm slowly coming to recognize what truly helps me improve. I'm reconfiguring the way I understand and express myself. I'm starting to have deeper faith in the process every day. Let these sentences sink deeply into your mind. They reflect the truth of where you are and the growth you are experiencing. Thank you so much for staying with me, Elena, through this entire masterclass on In Moments. Truly, your dedication shows how committed you are to improving your English. Your time here has been time invested in transforming the way you think and express yourself. Every phrase you repeated and every moment you allowed yourself to slow down has been shaping your fluency. As we come to the end, take a quiet moment to appreciate how far you've come. Notice how much more natural English feels. Fluency grows quietly from moments just like this: long, focused listening and emotional engagement. You have shown up, stayed consistent, and allowed English to settle into your thinking. Before we finish, repeat these final reflection lines softly with me. I'm proud of the progress I've made. I have faith in the process more every day. I'm becoming more confident in expressing myself. I'm ready to continue growing and practicing. I believe in my ability to become fluent. Let these words settle deeply into your mind. You are building a future version of yourself who communicates with ease and natural confidence. Every day, With every lesson here on In Moments, you are moving closer to that version. Thank you for your trust and your willingness to grow. I'm truly proud of you. If you want more long, immersive English learning lessons like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode with me, Elena. Until our next lesson together, keep practicing, stay consistent, and take care. I will see you again very soon.